Spooky. Triangle in the woods. Spooky. Surrounded. It looks like an avocado. It's extremely an avocado. It's a space avocado. Crash down.
Your avocado.
Intellectual and academic freedom in avocados. Bold initiatives and risk-taking for avocados.
So then
I can barely read any of that.
you see you sit in the avocado and you wonder your reflection.
I bet it sounds weird in here, a little bit. What's it made out of? It's green.
It's concrete with some kind of shit in it.
It's pretty.
It's just painted.
No, but it's pretty. See, he's got the avocado shell, and this is the delicious meat.
You're the nut.
And I'm the nut. Okay. Huge chunk. I like that blue one. I think they're used to being fed here. Oh, he's so shiny. That's a very robotic looking building. It's just really hilly right there. It's like Tuesday, and I feel like I've been hibernating for a week or so. I just filmed this for the Patreon group. This is the slow video. It's on the front of this just because I know some people prefer having signatures on the front, but I still kind of hate it because look how distracting it is. You know, whereas like it would be a painting of cats, but now it's like a painting of cat plus random scribble in the corner. That's always going to catch your eye, which is why I generally don't sign the front of anything. But I don't know, some people like that, so I decided to try it for one time, and this painting looks so much better framed. Shout out to Karen who suggested finishing videos with the artwork framed. It is a pain in my butt, but it looks so much better. Like it really does. Like it looks like an actual good finished painting. Like it increased value or something. I don't know. So yeah. Bubbles are really, really difficult to paint. They don't look super realistic in this, but they look like bubbles and they shimmer like bubbles, which is a super benefit for using the metallic paints, because then you can make something look more like something, even if it's like super hard. I am not very eloquent today, let me tell you. I also just sprayed my cards. It was really hard to decide whether or not to give these a gloss finish, but I decided just to because it's closer to what I would expect from like a card. Although now that I'm looking at the actual card, it seems like they have like more of a satiny finish than a gloss finish, so I don't think I have a satin finish anything, so next time I might get satin and see how that goes. But yeah. The next batch I want to do, I would much rather have like a color scheme at least, because I find with all of these individual ones, some I like more than others. Like this one I really, really like. And the bee one is my absolute favorite one. And then the other ones, like, they just seem kind of really hodgepodge together. Which, like, even like with the originals, they all have different types of artwork on them, so it's not a big deal. But as a art series, I feel like it would be best if I picked something and stuck with it, you know, so that they all kind of go together. So that will be the next thing that I do with those, I guess. And yeah. Good morning, sort of. It's Wednesday, this weather is kind of crappy, and now I'm just kind of sitting here. Because today I'm planning to go to another one of them downtown meetups. It's really out of the way, but it's right next to Urban Source, which is a recycled art supply store. So it's pretty much just a bunch of stuff from other industries that might be able to be used by artists. You know, like leftover chunks of soapstone or stencils or old photographs and stuff like that. And I wanted to go there because I am completely out of this veneer, which I was using to make these little paintings of like these, but like little tiny paintings of them for this specific show in Coquitlam. But they wanted me to add 3 more because they are in Coquitlam, and which is part of something that they call Tri-Cities. But I said, yeah, I'd love to, now that I have time, because like that particular show, they allowed each artist to submit 8 paintings because they're all like little, right? Which would be great because you're paying like $20 or something to submit to the show. Not necessarily get in, but to submit to it, and you want to get as much out of that as possible. So I could only do 4 because I was really lax on the deadline and thought, well, I make so many small paintings anyway, I should probably just have something, but I didn't. And so I had to kind of work really hard that weekend, and I made 4 paintings and framed them for Monday. And now that the drop-off date is actually like in November, I have lots of time to add to it, so I'm making those 3. And which means I need to go to Urban Source, and I figured since I'm down there, I might as well go to the meetup because it takes me an hour and a half to get there. So, and what I like to do there is work in the sketchbook. It's a sketching group, so I'm not really doing. Well, I guess you can just do whatever you want, but yeah, this is where I've caught up a little bit. I still need to do the branches of these blackberries. This one's Surrey. That one's New West. I still have to do the background of this Delta page. And so what I end up doing when I know I'm going out is I pre-sketch some things, because they're all based on actual buildings, so I can't just do it from my head. I have to have something down. So like, where is this? This is Port Moody, so it'll have like, I usually do historical buildings. I don't remember enough about any of these to be able to like identify them or explain them, because I'm not super familiar with any of the Tri-Cities other than that they're kind of nice. I don't know. They're out of the way. And we were visiting Coquitlam a couple weeks ago, so it was a really good time, and I'd like to go back at some point. I'm going to do fuchsia for them. So I just have an example of what a fuchsia looks like, so that if I'm stuck out in drawing, like this is the Pride of Port Coquitlam azalea. It's like pink colored. Yep. And yeah, so I have 3 whole entire things, and then from these I can make those little paintings, because I'll just pick and choose from whatever I've already drawn. Makes it a lot easier. I would love to get giant prints of some of these, because I think that they're really cool. And I have noticed that at the flea market, the only time people actually like stop to look at anything is actually when I'm painting, because you know, you think like during a show that you would have to be really animated and talking to people, and I just can't do that. Like, I can't personally do that, especially knowing myself as a shopper, for example. Like, I'm definitely the kind of person who does not like to be noticed when I'm in a store. I will not go into a store if it's empty, because then I'll be the only thing that they would notice. I don't want to be like the center of anyone's attention. And yeah, so like at flea markets and stuff, I'm afraid to stop and look at things because I'm afraid that people are going to talk to me. So like as a vendor, I assume that a lot of people are probably like that, and so I definitely don't like to go out of my way to like talk to people as they're walking by. Like if they're looking through my things, I will sort of obsess and feel uncomfortable and maybe like talk about something about what they're looking at, or if they're holding something interesting, I might ask about it, like normal person stuff. but yeah, I find like when I'm actually painting, I seem to get more commentary and I seem to get more interest. And my table neighbor was saying that I need to talk to people as they're going by more, because they need to know that I'm the person making the things, which it didn't really occur to me was an issue. But I guess it is. Like even at craft fairs, people would still ask me, did you do these? Which seems kind of like, well, who else would do them? Like, what? I don't understand. But I guess it is not really that self-explanatory. But, you know, I can't stop people as they're walking and say that, hey, blah, 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 I'm an artist, come look at my stuff. But I can sit there and paint, which sort of demonstrates that I'm making stuff. So that actually kind of works for me. So I'm gonna stick with it. I'm still suffering a little bit about guilt because I am not really getting very far at all. Nothing has changed literally at all, other than the fact that I'm submitting to more shows since I've quit, and that needs to change, and I'm really scared that it's not going to change, and I'm scared that it's never going to happen, and then I'm no longer going to be like hireable by anybody. Not that I am now, but like even worse than that. And I don't need you to send me pictures on Twitter, because look at him! Look at him! I feel like this one's gonna break some hearts. I haven't even posted the video yet, and my favorite bee is going away. I do feel a lot of gratitude for people who like come back a lot. I feel kind of bad because I find like when people like sales, they're always like the same small group of followers, and it's really sweet, and I feel kind of like I feel a little bad, but anyway, thank you. I hope you are enjoying everything. This weather is such a drag. It's so dark outside. I was gonna like redo some pictures of the cards because my other ones are so bad because the lighting is so dark. This is the season where all my videos start to look like garbage. More so. Like, it's hard enough to make me leave the house in the late afternoon / evening, because by then my day is over. Like, I don't leave the house at night. And on top of that, like, going downtown by myself. And now it's just like dismal, dark ass weather, and it's wet, and ugh. Maggie, you're so lucky. I don't get to do nothing. Also, like, there's like a bribe element to it where I'm going to go to that like art supply store before then, even though I need to, but I want to, because it's really fun, but I'm also like too afraid to be in there because like the social anxiety aspect of it. I don't understand how I can like sit at a table full of people and draw, but like I enter a store and it's like game over. Game over for me. Look at this mess. It's Thursday. Oh man. So like, hi. Today I was planning to do a live stream. I still am. But like, I was hoping to do it on Mixer instead of Twitch because there's fewer people on Mixer and my visibility would therefore rise a bit. But they won't send out a stream key in less than 24 hours, so I can't get in there. I'm just having like an intense morning because like, first of all, it's raining again, so it's like really dark. And anyway, like the lighting on my streams are usually really kind of bad and slightly blurry because I use this silly webcam, and then I use this for filming if I'm filming, which I'm not today, so I guess I don't need that. But yeah. I'm just all over the place right now. First of all, because people are actually sending me a few pet pictures, which means like I really kind of expected to be ignored like all my other live streams. Like drawing in front of people makes me anxious because then everyone just sees all like every single phase of a drawing, and what if I draw somebody's dog kind of badly and like if I was just doing this privately I could give up and move on to something next, but then I can't do that. I have to make it look okay. But yesterday's meetup was fine. I wasn't really as chatty and open at this one because I was tired, I guess. But I did go to the store there, the recycled art supply store, and I got some sheets of veneer because I need to finish the painting series that I started on veneer. I had to break it because it's too long for my book. Because like this little bit that was sticking out, because it was so rainy and humid, it got really wiggly and it cracked a bunch. Yeah. But oh, this looks good. So that's good. I came there for those. Really inexpensive. Highly suggest using recycled materials in your art. But they also had these, some kind of like spirographs. I didn't kind of wanted one. I guess it makes all of these shapes. It looks impossible, but it'd be kind of neat. Like if you had a digital pen that could fit in this hole, like if you had a really extra long nib. I was wondering if I could put it on my my tablet and do spirographs digitally, because that would really help me a lot in my pattern making moment. There's all these edges too, like a little ruler and like an arrow. Ooh, a little pentagon, circle. Thought that would be fun to play with. And they also had a whole box of these shells with holes in them, which I assume are meant for maybe like wind chimes or something. They're super glassy and interesting, and they already have the holes in them, so if I wanted to make like painted something, some sort of like Christmas decoration or something maybe. These were like 25 cents per piece, or maybe like $1 for a bag or something. It was like really cheap, so I was like, screw it, I'll just get them. Ugh. They're not pearlescent. Well, they're very faintly colored. They make beautiful sounds when they hit each other, probably. I can't tell if this is like shell or glass or what. It must be shells because it's flaking off. Cool. Cool. So at some point I'll play with those and a spirograph. Because why not, right? If anyone can read that. I'm very curious. I have to use like a mechanical pencil to fit it through the hole, but look at how pretty they are. Look at that one. Damn. Every pencil is dumb. See, I don't think that this would fit. No. It has to be like a ridiculously long thing to work in here. Fun. I feel a little bit like I'm at one of the art meetups where I'm like drawing in public but I'm not really talking to anybody. I just ended the live stream because it's getting late and I got a bunch of animals in. Blah blah blah. Mostly cats and dogs. There's lots that I haven't done. Like there's plenty of pictures I have that I haven't actually done on stream. But I'll probably continue doing it through the evening and posting them on Twitter or something. Probably not all of them because, like, you know, they are mostly for Patreon, right? I especially love the Bun Bun. He's my favorite. And yeah. And whatever I get on Facebook. Pretty much if anyone sends me a picture, I'll post it. But whatever I do on my own, I will just keep on Patreon. Yeah, the setup isn't great. It's very like Skype quality. Like, not that it's jittery or anything, but it is kind of hazy, blurry. The color is not great. It's dark in here, which doesn't help. And the settings are such that I can't really adjust how much it's exposing. So if I shine a light on this to make it brighter, it just lowers the exposure to compensate, which is really annoying. And most cameras will not be something you can control. Yeah, other than that, yep, kind of an anxious day. I always kind of have like this fantasy version of my life where things are just a little bit different than they really are. Like, I imagine more sort of interaction. I imagine more like just having a couple of random people who are not Patreons sending me a picture on Twitter is very special to me, and thank you so much. And it was more than I expected, even though like the live stream itself is just as dead as it always is, especially on Twitch, where I'm just buried under a giant pile of people who are streaming much higher quality streams. And someone did suggest me doing it on YouTube, which makes sense because then I'd have hundreds of people notified of the stream instead of just whoever's following me on Twitter or whoever's following me on Twitch. So that would make a lot of sense. I just don't think that I can physically stream on YouTube because I play music in the background to keep my brain from dying because I get so bored doing this because there's no one to talk to, nothing to talk about. And if YouTube picks that up in the background, like, it's not really loud, but if it picks it up, it's gonna be like a copyright strike against my channel, and it'll automatically interrupt and end the stream every time it picks up some kind of copyrighted sound. So I don't know. I'd rather try at least once, but it will have to be like a dead quiet stream, and I guess I could put headphones in, but it seems kind of rude. And Maggie came to visit, which she never does. Very nice. Yeah, I'm just like in this really like delicate stage where I like imagine an alternate version of myself as being more like, of everything just being more interactive and more people like responding to stuff that I do and vice versa. And I feel like I'm at this major crossroads where if I don't become that person like right away, I have to give up. And it's really hard because I don't want to give up, but at the same time, like, I don't want to drag everything on. Not that, like, I feel like I don't really deserve it because I'm not really that interesting or exciting of a person. I have been like, I'm a super late bloomer. I was naive for way too long. I'm not like perfect. I don't have this like blemish free, past or whatever. Like, I just don't feel like I just don't feel like I deserve to make anything out of this, but at the same time, I feel like it's my only option. I just don't want to do anything else. So, like, I'm impatient, and I'm hoping that these 2 upcoming shows aren't completely a bomb, because if they go really good, it's gonna be a huge boost, and I need it, I need it, I need it, I need it. Like, I'm here, I'm ready, and I've tried manifesting when I was trying to get that job, and things looked really good, and it looked like it was happening, and then it didn't. So I'm just like, I can only manifest so much. So I'm just like, I just feel weird because, like, I don't know how far into unhealthy I take it. Like, how much of this is just denial and how much of this is hope. Like, am I crashing and ignoring it, or I don't know what's going on. Smoke bush is getting pretty. The sage is also still like high production. Maybe it's not getting the right nutrients because it's like falling over. I wish he put a little bit more energy into his little trunk there. The hummingbird's happy though. This rain is probably our reality for the next 5 or 6 months. Maybe. I gotta go out and get a few more couplers for the print display because I want to be able to break down the long poles into half so that I can put them in a bag instead of carrying them like a little Sherpa. Right, baby? Make it easier on myself. Assuming I think they're strong enough to hold. I think they're strong enough to hold. And they're really cheap. Getting, if you're doing really, really lightweight stuff, PVC pole displays are the best because they cost practically nothing. They're easy to cut, easy to transport, easy to build. You're just kind of limited to what you can put on them without them toppling over, right? Unless you get a really thick gauge of pipe. I got like a much lower gauge because it was just like a photo booth before, but it's evolving. I went back to Canadian Tire and I only found these. They're off-white, so they're not even remotely the same. In fact, they didn't even carry white tubes. They only carried this weird cream color. And also, they're the wrong size. And I knew this before I cut them, but I cut them anyway. Because these are actually 3/4 size, and this is a 1/2 inch tube. So, because they're covered in paper, it's only a little bit loose. But before I cut them, I did experiment a bit and see how much paper I had to wrap around it to make it 3/4. So that it fits tightly in here, and it really wasn't that much. And the fact that it's like significantly less loose, that I just have one sheet of paper wrapped around this, pretty optimistic. I'm pretty sure this is gonna work just fine. I was thinking about these charms because I wanted to bring them with me, and my original thought was I was just gonna like put them in a bowl or something, but I feel like I don't know if that's gonna really work so well. I already have lots of loose things on the table, and I know like a lot of my neighbors would probably be like, oh, someone will just pick it up and just take it anytime I use the bathroom, right? Which is true. I mean, I don't really worry too much about that kind of stuff, but I was thinking maybe if I just set up a frame. Without the glass, frames are pretty light. Again, not really sure if I should be packing more things because it's really hard as it is. But I have this really nice blue scrapbook paper in this really old frame. And then I just wired some little bits of wire through it and taped it so that it comes up at an angle so that when I put that charm on there, it just hangs right there. And so yeah, I need about at least 20 spots, so I've marked it out for 20 spots. If I have doubles, I could probably put more bees on this one maybe, if it's not too visually confusing. And yeah, I don't know what this is, but... so that might be worth looking into. I had to switch it to a white background because I realized that a lot of these are translucent, and so the drawings don't really show up as well on a dark background, like the fish. Yeah, it kind of looks like a antennae, actually, butterfly antenna. I want this wall. Can I have it?